Okay, we are live once again with Brother Neil Frazier, aka Metamorphosis, for another, I can't just say lecture or teaching session, because he brings the information so well served, so digestible, that it's easy to learn. Brother, I appreciate you so much for the skill that you have, because everybody else can't teach like you do. And it's an honor.
Well, like we were talking, brother, and thank you, is that you have to have the right producer as well. And like I was bragging about you the other day. I was telling you I was talking to a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago when she found us on YouTube, and I said, yeah, she said, oh, I'm so happy for you, Neil. I know how you feel, and I'm so glad this guy LANCESCURV seemed like the real thing. I said, oh yeah, he's the real thing. And so,
oh, thank you, brother.
Oh man, and see, this is a classic. I was telling you, they talk about this masterclass, this and masterclass that, but that doesn't help our people. What helps our people is showing how we need to collaborate and use each other's skills.
Yes, collectively.
This is not about you hogging all of the attention or accolades. You cannot build a foundation without brothers like Lance and I collaborating. This is
exactly
our young brothers.
Exactly. And this is a joy for me, because you connect me to a time, I won't say long gone, but that feel when growing up in Queens and back in the late 60s, 70s, when I remember, but you're very much current. But you bring me that feel. It's like when you go to a special restaurant and sit in a particular seat there, and it gives you that feel, and that sparks something inside of me, and it's very satisfying, because you prepare me for the future, yet you take me back. It's an unbroken chain that you come with. You fill the voids with who you are, and you're very much appreciated that way. There you go.
Our people,
there you go.
And you know something, brother, what you just said, it hits the heart, not doing that.
Right.
It hits the heart, because that is true. Our past and our present is interwoven. And
that's right.
This is part of our genetic memory bank that they try so hard to cut. Okay. And we cannot allow anyone to decide how we celebrate our great history.
That's right.
We've allowed people to take use narratives and rhetoric to define us.
That's right.
Cannot be done. There's no one on this planet that can duplicate the experiences of the African American in Turtle Island, or on the continent, or in the Caribbean, wherever you want to go. There are no people that can duplicate what the Sun people have had to endure and then produce to the world. That is a
beautiful. That's right. That's right. And it's a quantum thing, going toward the future and the past, which is all the same. And that's why I say with you, brother, and there are many brothers that I know that can give off that same feel, but yours is very powerful. It's like, even though in our life's journey, we have recently in the last few years connected, when I think back to the block parties or the old times coming up, it's like you were there, because you were. Your energy was there. Your energy's in the future. Your energy's in the past. You're in the present. You have a vibration about you that is not compromised. And it's brothers like you that they want to shut down, because you're healing in your very presence. When you talk to the younger folks, and I don't want to say the word minister to them, because it's not a one-sided communication. You vibrate with them, but your vibration sets the tone that they know, okay, I can vibrate on this level and it's okay. It doesn't have to be combative with a brother. It doesn't have to be competitive with a brother. And this is why collaborations and unity, at first on YouTube, when you see groups of people and groups of us, it usually doesn't last, because ego comes in because the people involved are not into the process, the joy of the process, the joy of creating, the joy of the craft. I woke up this morning straight up out of my bed. I went to bed maybe 2:30 in the morning. I couldn't help it. I jumped up at 7:30. I said to myself, I'm going to get all my sleep. I jumped up and hit straight to the computer because I said I'm going to do several shows a day. It was in me. So I got to work, making the banners, writing the articles, setting everything up, the technicalities. And I learned some things today too to advance. So it was a roll. Now look, for me, it's 8:06 because I'm on Ghana time. And it's like the day went by quick, but I got so much done. I almost didn't have time to eat. The passion, the joy of the process.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
and I said, man, I'm gonna do these.
You're on that helical horizon, which is the best system to be on.
Yes.
You know, so many people are controlled by the clock.
No, right. Not me. And even though I was a little fatigued, my spirit was pushing me. So now I know, I said, after I do all I do today, and we do Brother Neil's show, and then I rest a little bit. And if the power didn't go out after, I would still be going. And it might come on any minute now. So that happens. But I'm just so overjoyed. The studio is looking good. I'm happy. I'm in my creative space. Got a few touches to do, but everything is coming along fine. I'm where I'm supposed to be, and I feel it. Like a boxer that knows he's going to win the fight. It's not just about the training he did and the discipline. He's connected from within. And as he makes the ring walk, he knows he's going to win. He's going to catch a few punches.
He has to be confident no matter what fear is there.
Right.
You have to be confident that you have the ability to win that fight when you go in that
That's what I'm trying to say. That's why when I woke up this morning, I knew I had the ability to produce these shows and get in front of the camera several times and get it done and learn. So now I'm more amped for tomorrow. So it's just going to get worse. So
well, let's be clear. Let's be clear, brother. You get it done. I dealt with a lot of brothers that do all this here, but you get it done. And that is a rare, that is something that has to be passed down to our young people, that you have to put in the time. You don't always have to be in front of the camera, but you're going to have to put in some time, okay, in the dungeon or wherever you are.
There you go. There you go.
Black dungeon, that's why I say. But
I might adopt that. I might have to use that for the Ghana dungeon, right? Because I am underground. I'm on the bottom floor, you know, and since the property's on the grade, there's a part of it that's partially underground. So, you know, it's soundproofed and it's cool down here. It's large. I'm happy. And my spirit is on fire with this on the creative level, with the new things that we've been learning. And I'm so enthusiastic.
For all of us that are connected to you, that's a great thing. Because that fire is very important, you know what I mean? And so when we get that fire from you, it helps us to continue down the road and the path that we're headed on.
That's the point. Because it doesn't lessen my fire to spread the flames on another candle or another torch.
Yeah.
It's a joy to see it go beyond. It's a joy. It's a joy to know that I had a hand in that. I don't need to have my name out there. I mean, we know the internet game with production and names and graphics and stuff. But other than that, it's just a joy. Like, see me now tonight, after the show, I can sleep with total peace.
Yes, absolutely. That's a beautiful.
Well, the floor is yours, brother. I mean, I know you're so full of this information, and I want to hear what you have to say. You know.
Well, you know, as always, brother, I put in the work for you for your platform, and show it for the family and for the family. You know, I put in the work. It takes, you know, about 3 days, but I make sure that I don't just give our people anything based on narratives that have been put out there.
Right. But just remember, and this is the last thing I'll say before you speak, that whatever the amount of traffic on YouTube that you see, whether it's large or small, it's going to be more on other platforms. Because once I take this and process it, chop it up, put it in different places, angle it out, the reach is going to be synergistic. It's not just going to be what you see on YouTube. Because, and I want And I do want to say this for the next 90 seconds. I tried to get on Rumble yesterday. That's the other video platform. And there was one particular video that I did not see that I thought I put up,
Okay.
but it didn't give me access to it. And I had
Uh-huh.
put up on a screenshot on the other shows as proof that they basically, Rumble put the message out saying that, not verbatim, because I can't remember it that way, but it basically said that the government of France has been requesting to take certain creators down off of Rumble. France, the government of France.
So
approached.
what does the government of France have to do with that particular platform in the United
Well,
States?
Because, okay, this is how it works. I have a VPN, right? And
Okay.
that allows me to appear as though I'm in any country, so I can get in on something that's blocked. I can kind of circumvent it, right? And my VPN, sometimes when I load it up, it may jump to a server in a different country. So I guess it jumped to one in France, right? And that's how I got the message from Rumble saying that certain creators have been requested to be banned, but what they did, I guess they shut the whole country down because Rumble is a little more open about those things. Like YouTube is real strict.
Okay.
So what happened is that I did a story on Ibrahim Traore, president of Burkina Faso,
I saw that.
about the electric car. Yeah. And I praised them and gave them props. And because they kicked out France, they kicked France out.
I know, I saw that story.
On all levels, removed names of stuff, stopped them, people in the court from wearing them blonde wigs, and kicked them out from exploiting. And Burkina Faso has no debt.
Great.
The president is young. He's doing this. They don't like that. So I've done several videos mentioning this. And so they
don't like you cutting it.
Right. And they don't like you praising the people who did this to them. So this is why they reached out. It's not just me, but there are other creators, but they singled us out. Right. So
yeah, I've been singled out too, brother.
Yeah. But they sent me that notice. Right. So on YouTube in Ghana, okay, Ghana can't see that video. And I'm believing that Burkina Faso can't see it. But a dear sister of mine went to find the video and it's on YouTube, but in America, you can see it. But out here, you can't. So I put my VPN back to America again and I can see it. But they're blocking it really from a lot of African countries because they don't want the enthusiasm and the admiration for the president of Burkina Faso and all the things that he's doing to inspire other people.
Now,
and that's spite.
Something, brother. Let me ask you something. Okay, so if you're a so-called white supremacist and people are inferior to you, then why the hell are you intimidated by a brother standing up for his country and saying that we don't want you here because of your deceptive practices?
Right.
So you're not for our people. What?
But they're being exposed en masse.
They're being
and this
exposed.
is why, it's the anti-propaganda. See, they can't lie about the truth. So what they want to do is hold things back where it's not seen.
Yeah,
you see what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. That is.
I got something for them. I already know what to do. I'm about to do it. I've been doing it the last few days. I'm gonna keep on doing it. I'm gonna go after them and smash them. Things are gonna go out. Yeah.
That's a great thing, brother, because the thing is that they have to know that are fighting back. We have always fought back. So were you finished? I can go into today's
yeah, sure. Yeah, I was done.
Okay. And so today, a lot of what we're talking about was the reason why I came up with the topic that I came up with today. Because one of the things I want to say, I want to put this out here right now, okay? That some people are the spiritual conduits of the planet. Let me say that again. Some people are the spiritual, and when I say some people, I'm talking about conduits of the planet. And I want to ask this question: is it possible to stop the stars from shining, the wind from blowing and the rain from falling. No, that is not possible. So today's subject, free speech, the First Amendment. A lot of things that our people don't know about the First Amendment versus Article 19, which is something that our people definitely should know but don't know. The UN Charter. It comes from the UN Charter, Article 19, which is your human right to free speech. And I know people have probably heard me say Article 19 before, but so we're going to break down today and we're going to talk about the difference between the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution and Article 19 from the UN Charter. And there's gonna be some information that's gonna really make you say, okay, so what is really going on here? And again, brother, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be on your show as always. Mondays is a highlight. Greetings to
Likewise, brother. Likewise, it's an honor.
Yes, yes. And the family and our energy that we create through Brother Lance is unmatched in my eyes. And it's very necessary because, see,
I appreciate it.
What we're dealing with today, we're not fighting against flesh and blood. This is what our people have to realize. Just because someone says we're not going to celebrate Black History Month in one venue, hey, there's 42, close to 50 million Black people in the United States. We can celebrate whatever we want. I'm like, okay, so someone, again, I want to make this statement. Sun people are the spiritual conduits of the planet. We are the quasars. And a quasar is the brightest star in a galaxy. In fact, it blinds out all of the other stars in that galaxy. Okay, so we know, just like an individual wanted to block the sun, that it is impossible for a man. And this is what our people have to realize. Stop looking to these people. It is impossible for a man, okay, to control the history of some people. That is impossible. Not just a man, a government. That is impossible. So you have to realize who you are. So let's get into our subject today. And today I want to celebrate one of our great personalities in the history of not just Black people, because see, what we have to recognize is our people have been chosen to speak to the world. They actually bring a certain energy to all people on the planet. But we want to celebrate Langston Hughes today, and I was listening to Dr. King recite this. But Langston Hughes wrote a poem called Mother to Son that all Black people need to play and let their children hear. And I'm going to read it today because we're very proud of our history. We celebrate our history. It doesn't matter who is saying whatever. That doesn't change. That doesn't change anything, okay? That is that caterpillar mentality, 90-degree mentality of a calcified pineal gland. We don't live by that. We live by the heliacal rising of the sun. And the sooner you get that in your head and stop following all this nonsense that you follow on TikTok and YouTube and wherever else the hell they put it, and focus on what we need to be building, the better off we'll be. And to remember that we are $1 trillion a year. Let me say it again. $1 trillion a year economy. The problem is it's going away from us. So Langston Hughes, mother to son. Life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It had nails in it, no carpet on the floor, no light. The boards were torn up, but I've been climbing all the time. And don't you sit down now, son. You just keep on moving. And when I think about people like Langston Hughes, Maya Angelou, Nikki Giovanni, who have really been the soul of this yearning, the soul of Black folks that have come out of our people, that's what we have to remember. You're getting caught up emotionally in all of the same tricks that the Luciferians play on our people. We have to come out of this. So one of the statistics that I wanted to bring to our people that they're lying about, that I heard the other day, that there are more Black men in prison than there were enslaved in 1850. That is a fact. I searched the documents, the 3 different agencies that I depend on for this type of information. So you see, we're here today to talk about, because what's going to happen as we examine this free speech, the First Amendment versus Article 19, which is our human right to free speech, which our people should be studying the UN Charter. And I'm going to show you why as we go through this. But see, this is one of the reasons why they keep us divided from the diaspora. This is like a Willie Lynch diaspora type of system, right? This is the main reason, and this is the main reason I believe, following the life, that Malcolm and Dr. King were assassinated, because Malcolm was talking about going to the UN about the problems or the issues facing Black Americans. And so was Dr. King when he made that statement, and then he realized, okay, well then I have to internationalize this struggle. This is why they keep us divided, why they use the Willie Lynch theory on a global level with our people. You got Africans hating on African Americans, or Black Americans, whatever you want to call yourself. And then, they have the Caribbean, our Caribbean brothers and sisters, our sisters from Mahiti or Mexico. And remember, these people have changed all of our indigenous names. They have our people that are here, our indigenous tribes that we were a part of. They have us against them. But nobody's fighting against the source of all of this chaos, okay? And so we have to look at, like, our ancestors have taught us that history is the greatest subject that we must master. And it's a reason for that. So as we go into this, I'm going to break down the 2 different charters, how they affect not only Blacks here in this country, but throughout the diaspora. So the only thing that hate is designed to do is to keep you in a emotional state of anger and imaginary inferiority. And again, as I said, the Sun people are the conduits of the planet. We already know from the studies of the primordial waters of noon that we are the original people here on the planet. What does that mean? That means that all source energy flows through us first. So it doesn't matter what you refer to us as or call us. If you want to go in biology or genetics, okay, if you want to go through conceptual language or what you call linguistics, if you, whatever subject you want to go through, you will see, okay, even this individual that is held up as the father of psychology, or one of the founding fathers, Sigmund Freud, who I studied. In private, he studied Memphite priests. That's what he based his psychology on. Okay. So I want to ask this question. Do you know what America would look like without the soul of Black folks? Honestly. All these bigoted, you know, I sit back and I listen to these people. Do you fucking know what America, excuse my French, but some of this
Let
stuff,
it flow, brother. Let it flow.
well, you know, the thing is this ignorance is pissing me off. And this is why we're coming today to deal with this. But do you know what America would be? Let me tell you, the arts, the sciences, the history, the sports, entertainment, music. Oh, 250 years of free labor. $50 trillion plus. I didn't want to forget about that one. Raise and nurse your children. The inventions that changed the world. That's enough. So when you're talking about hiding or stopping so-called Black History Month, you don't know what you're dealing with. You don't know what you're talking about. That's impossible. You might be able to shut down celebrations where these people that really don't care about our history, or these so-called powerful entities in our government, but that's not going to stop us from celebrating our great ancestors like Benjamin Banneker. Are you insane? We're never going to stop doing that. But the sad part about this whole thing, brother, is that the American youth, with all the potential that we have, will be robbed of knowing real history in order to perpetuate the lives of people who are really inferior with a thin skin that will prevent any type of future progress in America. That is the real. So when you're talking about bringing people from other countries to do things here, this is what's behind this. So, you know, our people like to quote these scriptures. You can't hide a light on a hill. What are you talking about? Do you know who you are? And that these people are trying to put your light out? This foolishness has got to stop. Seriously. You need to give them back that book, okay? This is the hypocrisy of the U.S. government against Black people. We know the history of this, okay? Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about this in terms of free speech, and what I'm going to do is I am going to go through the preamble and give a little history of the preamble of the U.S. Constitution, and then I'm going to go through the preamble of the UN Charter or Constitution, because this is something our people need to know that we don't know, the majority of us. And over my lifetime, since I've found this truth out, I've asked many Black people what Article 19 is. It's only 2 people in close to 40 years that I've asked this question that knew what Article 19 is. See, this is the problem that we have. Okay, when you're talking about real progress, you have to have some kind of foundation to build on. Okay, so let's look at the preamble. Give me a second here. Let's look at the preamble of the U.S. Constitution, and then we're going to look at the preamble of the UN Charter. Okay, written in 1976, the Continental Congress, by the way, when John Hanson and the Moors, the first real black president, in 1976 met with them in Philadelphia, it was decided that Morocco would become. See, there's a lot of history that our people don't know, okay, because they have us so divided. But I'm not going to go into this history now. I'll do it at another time, okay? But after John Hanson and those met with them at the First Continental Congress and the Moors in Philadelphia, and John Hanson, who at that time, okay, was really still continuing, what they were running here in America, they made a deal with the Moroccan government to help establish, the newly created U.S. Constitution. Okay, so the First Continental Congress was have you ever asked yourself, so the 13 years, there have been 13 U.S. presidents, or 12, I believe, between the time of the First Continental Congress in 1776. So they tell you 1777 because they don't want you to know about John Hanson and the Moors. But to 1787, George Washington was not the first president of the United States, and Barack Obama was not the first black president of the United States. Okay. So, in fact, we have had 8 presidents who were really mixed, or if they're mixed, then genetically they're black. Okay, so they can play these games all they want. So let's get into the preamble of the U.S. Constitution. We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, and provide for the common defense, to promote the general welfare and secure blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, and do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America. Now, one thing that jumps out at me here, when you look at the difference between the U.S. Charter, and I know we're dealing with different times, okay? We're dealing with, a 300-year period here or more. But the word human is never spoken. And there are a lot of reasons for that. The word human or humanity is never used in the First Amendment, the preamble of the Constitution. The closest thing was we the people. So now that's an important distinction between the preamble of the U.S. Constitution and the preamble of the UN Charter. So just a brief synopsis of the UN Charter. It has 30 articles. It definitely, talks about the spirit of brotherhood, on the planet. And in Article 1, it says that all human beings are born free with rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards each other in a spirit of brotherhood. Now that's very important. That's something that we should allow to sink into our minds when we're thinking about this. Okay, so let's go into the preamble of the United Nations. Okay, hold on here. I have a lot of notes here, so bear with me here. All right, so here we have the preamble of the UN Charter, which Article 19 is a part of, thank God. And their focus, this charter, the focus is on human rights and social progress. Now, this is one of the reasons I want to take a pause here. When we look at this document, this is one of the reasons, this is the main reason in my mind, in my spirit, that they keep people from the diaspora, Black people, divided. Okay, this is the main reason. We're going to show the hypocrisy today of that. But this is the primary reason why they keep us at our throats. Who gives a damn if you're an FBA or African or whatever? You're a son, okay, you're a primordial seed, okay? And you got your electricity back. Right on, brother. Who cares about that?
Keep talking. I'm going to drop some pictures that I made, right? Just keep talking. Don't let it distract you. I'm going to start making a banner. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So one of the reasons why you are never taught about the UN Charter and why you are never told or taught this, and there are many people that have this UN Charter preamble in their homes. I've met a few of them when I was in the solar business, okay? See, they keep Black people so focused on emotional things, the things that we need to be focused on to building our future and the human rights that, forget civil rights, okay? You have human rights as a result of being a child of the creator creatrix. That's what you need to get in your head. Stop fighting these people over. Let them do whatever they want to do. We're not under their authority. Okay. So the preamble of the UN Charter starts, we the people of the United Nations determined to save, succeeding generations from the scourge of war, which twice in our lifetime, which this was established in 1945, has brought untold sorrow to mankind, and to reaffirm faith in fundamental human rights in the dignity and worth of the human person, and in the equal rights of men and women, and of all nations, large and small, and to establish conditions under which justice and respect for the obligations arising from the treaties and other sources of international law can be maintained, and to promote social progress and better standards of life and longer freedom. Now, if you have been listening, there is a marked difference. Okay, there is a marked difference between the preamble of the UN and the preamble of the U.S. Constitution. That's something that we as Black people need to start expanding our minds to, is that as long as you're under this system of systemic racism, then you're going to be under the proverbial knee on the neck. We need to start expanding, okay, our communications based on the fact that the UN Charter gives us this right. So if your constitutional rights are violated or taken away, there is a higher court to appeal. Just like when they, in this country, when they appeal to the Supreme Court, okay, we have this option. Okay, so let's look at the social implications, okay? Let's look at the social implications of the First Amendment and free speech in education, okay? And we're going to see why, what I'm getting ready to talk to you about now, when we get into the First Amendment, we're going to see why this is the case, okay? But the social implications of education in regards to the First Amendment and free speech, who decides what we teach our children? That is a question we have to ask moving forward, since they have decided that Black history is not going to be taught in the public school system. Our counselors, teachers, therapists, the people that, you know, do the real social work in this country, social workers, etc., are they going to start to lie to people now? Because we all know that the first rule of healing is that you have to open the wound. You have to look at the wound. So if you want to deny that the wound is there, then there is no true healing that takes place. It's just a Band-Aid. Okay? And again, it's long after we're gone, this is going to have a major impact on the quality of life of our children moving forward. And this is why we are obligated, okay, with all this nonsense you're doing everywhere on social media, we need to be teaching the truth about us, who we are, our struggles, and what it means moving forward. You have been blocked from the major media, but the creatives have given you an avenue that you're squandering with garbage. All you're talking about on YouTube, TikTok, and these other places is garbage. Black people are living in hell, and our children are going to inherit this hell. But your mind is on all this garbage. Yeah, that's right. I'm mad today. Yeah, I'm a nice guy, but I'm mad. Because, see, it's our people. You're $1 trillion. Do you know the GDP of most countries can't match African Americans in this country? Did you know that? Oh, I shouldn't say the GDP. Forgive me. No, because we don't produce anything. I should say the consumerism and materialism. We are a $1.2 trillion a year industry. That's what I meant to say. Because we don't have a GDP. We're not focused on importing and exporting and doing business with other people that look like you. So what happens? So the people that are in office, they shape our narratives based on a reward and punishment in terms of what you express. And we're going to show you today how that's done, okay? Where they're shaping, just like when YouTube takes off somebody like Lance or for free speech or whatever, they're doing that to send you a subliminal message saying that, okay, you can say these things, but you can't say the things that you're saying. You can't educate your people on the truth. That's what they're really saying. This is the Luciferian energy that you don't know. Okay. Excuse me for a minute. Yeah, I gotta talk to you later, whoever you are. So sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem.
So this is why what I call the diaspora wars. Okay, and the real reason they keep us divided and fighting all this old crazy stuff about let me tell you something. I don't care if you're a Native American, FBA, African, or whatever. We all were the first people on this planet. And that's all you should care about. All this other garbage that these Luciferians have you doing, it's time to call us out. And it's time, we're tired of this. We don't want our people fighting no more on YouTube over this garbage. That have no interest. Most of it has to do with fiat, that is monopoly money that has no intrinsic value to our people. And this has got to stop, and we have got to deal with our own people first, okay? But right now we're going to deal with the First Amendment and what it does to our people. So in the diaspora wars, the real reason they keep us divided with destructive rhetoric against each other, but allow the coons and race haters to speak freely, and they even reward them. See, this is a game that Black people, we should know by now. You know what I mean? This is something we should have been way past. But I want to talk about the hypocrisy that exists, because what many of our people don't know about the United States is how they play us. Okay. Or how they bamboozle us. And this is the hypocrisy of the U.S. government. I'm getting ready to show you against Black people. The United States, get this, is a charter member of the United Nations. So that means they accept their, articles or their charter, right? Yeah, that's what it means. Not only that, it goes further than that. There are a charter member of the United Nations and one of only 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council. So now let me pause right there. So you are one of the founding 5 members of the United Nations and their Security Council. Okay. But yet you are sending billions of dollars to warmongers. But yet you you are one of the 5 members, founding members of the UN and the Security Council. So it gets deeper. The United States boasts the headquarters of the United Nations, which includes the usual meeting place of the General Assembly in your own state, Lance, New York City. Now think about that. The headquarters of the United Nations, of what I just read you in that preamble, okay, in their first article, their 30 articles. This is what we say we stand for. Okay, you cannot be a charter member of anything, a board member of anything, and not stand for at least the fundamental doctrine of this particular charter. That is impossible. Okay, let's go further. The United States is a founding member of the United Nations, as I said, and they comprise the 5 members of the UN Permanent Security Council, which includes the US, the UK, China, Russia, and France. So when they're telling you all this crap about they're doing all this stuff and whatever, that ain't true. All these people work together, okay, against you, because you don't know who you are, and they got you fighting against people in the motherland and other places in the diaspora. And you crazy enough to believe these people who are connected and have all the resources and manufacturing everything, that they're against each other. This is where you've been bamboozled. When we see the position of these countries. And so you're telling me that the things that you're doing to Black and brown people and the other people around the world is a part of what the UN Charter stands for? I don't think so. I don't think so. But it always comes down to the fiat, right? The US is the largest single contributor to the UN's regular budget, okay? Providing 22% of the funding, as well as 27% of the US peacekeeping budget. You're starting to get the picture now? So here's the thing, and I want to talk about this because I mentioned this in our last video, that there are many European scholars and historians that say that the Magna Carta, which means Magna means great, Carta means charter, was the greatest document ever created. And of course, they're talking about Western, Europeans or what have you. But nonetheless, this is what they feel, because we live under that feudalism system here in America, whether you know it or not. Okay, its impact on the future of class warfare and free speech. So it took the rebellion of the serfs and the peasants in order to bring this about. Okay, and you go read the Magna Carta, because King James was very vicious. So the serfs and the peasants was like, oh, hell no, we're not doing this anymore. So he had to sign into law the Magna Carta that held all people, regardless of you a king or not, under the jurisdiction of the law of the land, which I agree was a great document. But Europeans need to learn from their own history, okay, because it's being repeated against, and because they have been taught to hate Black people, they don't realize what these oligarchs are doing to them first. So but yeah, man, to say that to erase Black history, you're trying to erase the history of the world. That is impossible, because you come out of that history. Your academia comes out of that history, okay? Your literature comes out of that history. Your systems come out of that history. Your wealth, 250 years of free labor, come out of that system, that history. And I can go on and on about that. So, in the free speech, First Amendment versus Article 19 and human rights to free speech, the UN Foundational Charter was founded in 1945 after World War II, which Article 19, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which states that everyone has a right to freedom of opinion and expression. And this right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas, okay, through any media, regardless of frontiers or where it's located. The one exception, and here's where it gets dicey, and this is why our people need to really comprehend something here. The one exception is you cannot use hate speech or incite a riot as a result of your so-called rights to free speech. Now, let me read that again. The one exception, well, there are a few exceptions, but this one is the biggest, is that you cannot use hate speech or incite a riot as a result of your free speech. So on December 10th, 1948, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Human Rights Division of the Charter, which is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and Freedoms. So you see how important the UN Charter is for Black people. Very important. So the other thing about the UN Charter, okay, is that they have international standards. So that means if you were part of an international community, then you would be part of this. But because they have you divided so much with other people in the diaspora, then you can never achieve this. And this is where we're going to have to rise from this caterpillar state now, and our people are going to have this cocoon experience. We're going to have to now look at all of the options, particularly on a human rights level and not just civil rights, because when they use civil rights, then they can hold you under their knee on your neck based on that, which doesn't even use the terminology of humanity, okay? But the UN Charter have international standards. Get this, it's in more than 500 languages and dialects. And how many Black people know this? Which you should be celebrating and connected to your people all around the globe. But again, they have you fighting each other. This is why. On December 10th every year, the Human Rights Day is celebrated. And this is very important. Our people should look at this because when you look at the history of imperialism and colonialism, all of these charters were enacted to help. So I'll give you an example. So the reason why they don't want you to expand your horizon and be connected with your brothers and sisters on the other continents is because that is where your true power, 92%, comes in at, as opposed to 8% ruling, the world or what have you. The other thing too is that if they can keep you divided, then it dilutes your ability to come together and then to appeal to the UN, okay, for human rights, not civil rights. So let's look at the First Amendment. The lead author, James Madison, along with Thomas Jefferson, in 1777. And, religion or religious freedom was a very big part of this narrative. So let's see what the First Amendment says. It says that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibit the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech of the press. This is why it's so good that we have platforms like Brother Lance and other people who are allowing free speech to go, to be a part of. This is what they meant when, of course, men living in 1777 didn't see the future of the internet or YouTube, but this is primarily what it's addressing. Good insight here. Or abridging the freedom of speech of the press, or the right of the people to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievance. So if Black folks want to get together under the First Amendment, that's why they try to keep us from assembling, not just in church, okay, because they separated church and state. You have, under the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States, the right to assemble, okay, so that you can address and petition the government for information in regard. So, Mr. President, why did you do this? Or Congress, why did you do this? We need answers. Why did you do this? So this is all a part of suppressing free speech as well. So the freedom of speech or the freedom of the press, the government, now here's the part that I mentioned before, there are some exceptions that doesn't protect your right to free speech. That is that the government can restrict speech. A lot of people don't know that. You're seeing that through these, this is why these billionaires are lining up, because they control the major media outlets. So they can work through the US government. And this is why I made this statement that it's so dangerous. As you can see now, the fruits of this, of having someone growing up in an apartheid system where blacks were always at the bottom of the barrel and they were looked at as animals, literally, working in the mines of South Africa from can't see morning till can't see night, getting their arms chopped off for not meeting quotas. This is what we're referring to, why it's dangerous to have a Nazi, okay, in this close proximity to the President of the United States. And the people need to become more, where are the white people that I see preaching so hard on everywhere about Jesus? So it's easier for you to say, okay, this person is a chosen or anointed by God to inflict this type of pain on fellow human beings. It's easier for you to do that than to stand up against any tyranny against the people based on what you wrote, your script. But Black people need to understand that the government can restrict our speech. In fact, the Supreme Court says that this right to free speech is not absolute. Okay, so what that means is, yeah, you have a right to free speech, but if we say you can't speak on that, then you can't, because we overrule you in that. Could you imagine not having men like Thurgood Marshall, who, because of their human right to free speech, and certainly a man like him had the UN Council behind him. This is why we were so successful. If it wasn't for that, Black folks would still been in sharecropping. See, this is what our people don't realize, is how much have been. This is why these people want to hide our history. We don't know our history. If you look at our real history, the history of the United States is Black history. You can go all the way back to the 1500s. I don't care. The history Black history is the most significant history in the history of the United States. And I'll challenge anyone on that statement. And lastly, there are certain categories of speech that can be unprotected by your right to free speech, thus illegal. Okay, so the government can also suppress free speech and also prohibit, and get this, and punish certain types of expressions. So you see, the way that because our government is under the administration and authority of this Luciferian figure, and now we have the apartheid influence, the Black people have got to start thinking outside the box, okay? You cannot get caught up into these emotional tyrants with each other and not plan, because the next 3 years are going to be very critical to the, I mean, I see tents every day when I go out here, and today I'm going to see them again. Okay. And, I don't know what they're doing. They're talking about $600 million is the budget for San Francisco homeless. I don't think so. Who's taking this money? So yesterday I had to go and take some clothes and bags and stuff to some homeless people that are on the street, laying out in the street. How? Why? You cannot deliver? I'm going to leave that alone, brother. But the message today is that our people now have to start looking at a greater charter. Like the Europeans who got themselves out of that situation that they were in with the Magna Carta. I applaud that. We have to do the same thing here. Okay? And if we don't do this, and if we continue this petty little girl, little boy stuff we do on social media, it's going to be over for us, man. It's just the reality of it. I don't know who you're going to turn to. There are no other cultures that want to help you or your children. You don't want to send Lance no money because you don't want this nigga to have this. This is going to be the death of our people, brother. I see this. And like I always say, when I first heard Dr. Claude Anderson in the 80s, we went to one of his speeches in Baltimore, and he said that, I was like, there's no way Black people will ever go back in. From what I knew about slavery then, I didn't realize he was talking about economic slavery. But we're headed for self-destruction, bro. We have got to change. We have no more time. We have ran out of time. And so, I would employ our people to start teaching our children, because we ain't going to do nothing. This has already been proved. There's too many of us fighting against each other over this fiat and who got this and who got that. Let's teach the children to look to human rights. Okay, forget civil rights. That's what we're going to teach our children to focus on human rights. And with that, brother, I think I'll end the show today.
Yes, indeed, brother. Thank you so much. I'm here.
I'm glad you got everything hooked up.
Phenomenal again. And the time just goes too quick. And I got a long week to wait for you to come back. I cherish this time. It begins my week, it gets me right this way, and it keeps me fired up. So we're going to fire it up again tomorrow more. And thank you for that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we appreciate you, brother. Much love to you and your queen, and keep on fighting the good fight, the son of Bonham, the greater good.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so
All right.
much.
All right.
We're going to talk during the week. All right. Peace. Wow. Another phenomenal, very effective. When I say effective, you know, I'm a boxing fanatic, and I want to say that when I say effective, it's about effective aggression. He was sitting down, relaxed, talking and speaking the facts, but he's effective. He didn't have to jump up and say something 3 times, and you know, just like a sharpshooter, boop, boop, boop. You place your blows well. You don't have to go swinging crazy all over the place, you know. So let me just say, Peaceful Pulley, Teresa Gosha, Chance Rogers, we be scurving them. Yes, we are. We be scurving them. And let me see. Yes, Teresa Gosha. He is the bomb. Yeah, we need more. And they're all coming behind him and being influenced by him. And even though I'm not in Burkina Faso right now, I'm proud to be in the country that's just below. And he was here during the Ghanaian president's inauguration. That is one interview I would love to snag, even if it was just for 5 minutes. Imagine that. But like I said earlier, they're going against content creators that are bigging up President Traore in Burkina Faso and speaking about the victories, France being one of them. Rico Sadiq. Yes, much love and respect to Los Angeles. Yes, indeed. Yeah, they don't want us talking about it in a good way because he kicked out France. And you know that. He kicked out France, stopped the people in the court from wearing the stupid blonde wigs, and made the electric car that can run on solar. And I know it's going to be like a slow trickle with the solar, but look, it's solar. And the price of it is $7,500. That's a great savings. I can see myself going to Burkina Faso, purchase one of those cars, and driving it back down. And if I did, I'm not going to say I am right now because my budget and my projections don't have me in a car until maybe a year from now, until we finish this house. But I'll go up there and drive down and have y'all with me the whole way. As long as I can get a signal, we good. But France went to Rumble, and I'm going to keep saying it, to stop certain creators from uploading. France is knocked off of Rumble's connected countries that can upload. And the reason why it was France, because my VPN went through France and just picked there. And they're like, you're not going to big up. We're not going to have that president kick us out and you're going to praise him. So it's not just me, but I would assume it's other creators who speak positively of Ibrahim Traore. So that's something, ain't it? And in Ghana here, I can't pull up that video on YouTube, but it can be seen in America, but it was faded out here. So in other words, we don't want other Africans and other African nations to see the success and to see that the country can pull itself to be debt-free, to be technologically proficient, innovative, with a young 35-year-old president that, like I like to say, 20 years from now, he'll be a young 55-year-old president. And that's a nightmare for these people who want to get in and infiltrate and destroy and exploit and extract and turn around in their propaganda media and say, oh, they're so poor, they need us. No, we don't need you. And that's the problem. You're here, and we need to kick all of y'all out. And you say, oh, that's racist. Well, it's racist what y'all do. We don't want the vaccines. We don't want any of that stuff. We don't need y'all. We have everything here. But we've been made to think that we don't. So I'm going to, I might come back again. I've just been banging shows, right? I have something else I want to talk about. I'm going to see, I have to do some technical things. I have to upload more artwork from the old site onto Substack. If you haven't been on Substack, please subscribe there. Again, I thought I had the link here, right? I got to go on the side once again, pull it up. It's been building up, but like I said, just in case, we get knocked off of the other, because I'm going to be very bold, especially on Substack. I can talk freely and put up videos for freely. It is for free, but they don't mess around. It's a whole different kind of platform. And I'm going to drop this link. So those who don't know about that, I'm building up over there. And just subscribe there. Don't be finger lazy. It's free. Just put it in. Get all content in your inbox. YouTube for me now is secondary. I come here to bring the people that didn't know the old channel was knocked down, just to keep myself in the public, but to get people to come back to Substack where YouTube can't mess around with me. You see what I mean? So that's the move. So there'll be things on Substack that you won't see here. So a subscription here, they block videos, they stop stuff. I'm just saying, come on over here now. Come on. This is what the real deal is. For me, at least. So and subscribe if you want. And I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to know a lot of people who come for the first time or haven't been, or they think that I unsubscribed. I can't do that. You know, they took the channel down last year. So I'm building it back up in a more permanent way. And I'm fired up with the things that it can do to bring more content and do it easier. So I'm really hyped now. You know, I'm on creative steroids. No, I'm never been on steroids, right? But it's in the chat room, so hit the link there. Anyway, I got to get back to work some more. I'm feeling the fatigue. This is the 4th show for the day, and it might be a 5th. And if it's not a 5th, it'll be when I wake up. I swear, as soon as I wake up, I'm not even honoring the clock. I don't even have any clocks around me. I go by the internal clock. I might get up to answer call to nature and say, you know what? Go online and talk. Everything is set up. I'm good. I feel like Captain Kirk on the Starship Enterprise bridge. I got everything in front of me, so it's easy to do, and it's a permanent thing. And I want to thank you all for your support and sharing stuff and all that good stuff. You know, that's a great help, big time, a great help. So let me run. I'll be back, and if I'm not back on the show here on YouTube, I'll be uploading some things that weren't on Substack and breaking up my little shorts and different things. And I may record an audio. The audio is easy, boop, and talk a little bit. I'll definitely do that tonight. All right. So much love to you all. Take care, and I will see you somehow in a little while. All right. Peace.